Hello there, everyone. So welcome to another faction overview. This time it will be regarding the Dwarves of Erebor. By the way, I'm having a lot of problems getting this camera of mine, getting a good clearing. Hopefully it will be better right now. I don't know. Okay, we'll have to check. Sorry if I'm a little bit in the dark here. Just the overall lighting. I usually put the same settings, but not always happens. So let's check on the Dwarves of Erebor. By the way, strength level 6, 7 smithing. Of course, after level 4, I usually don't build it up, just because there are better buildings at that point. I mean, you would have, if you play the campaign on easy or medium, you will be able to take advantage of this, because basically you'll have more money overall. I mean, it will be easier, certainly, in order for you to get this. But I feel like on a very hard campaign, you pretty much cannot um, take advantage of it. I mean, the game will probably be over by the time that you're even achieving these guys. They have the best elite infantry in Middle Earth. Honestly, heavy armored units, yep. Strong morale. This is pretty much the base of the dwarves. You know, when the elves are the archer units or the archer specialists, these are the melee specialists. I mean, dwarves, when they close up, it's dangerous. And of course, this is the biggest problem in terms of the weakness. Let me put this on very hard. And then let's go into the campaign. Let's see. It just doesn't take too long to load up. So the decision making that you're going to have to do with the dwarves is particularly the early stuff. You're going to have to decide one of you're going to have to make two decisions, or actually mostly one decision. Do you go versus, let me show you this. Do you go versus the Easterlings of Rune, or do you go versus the Orcs of the Misty Mountains and Remnants of Angmar? Now do note that you're at war with all of them, and your allies already with everyone here except the elves. You can get the elves on your side if you're lucky. You don't start with forts here, which is annoying, and you don't actually start. You actually start with a diplomat, which is nice. You can immediately get some money out of here, get some allies here, and then you have to decide if you want to go here and start hostilities with the Misty Mountain Orcs, or if you just go through this area and you go towards Rune. In all honesty, I would always go versus the orcs until I've captured some places, some specific places like Gundabad. If I capture that, I will hold it for a long time before proceeding into Karndun. I would capture Goblin Town and just stay there for a long time. Getting everything up, getting better units, all that stuff, and then not progress too much into this area because it's too wide open, and I'm going to explain why. If it is too wide open and you're going to have very few units, because you cannot expend too much, I would always go versus this area. This area is very closed up. You can control the flow of their armies so that they won't backstab you or hit you where you're not prepared. While going against Rune means that you're going to have to cover a lot of land and make sure that you're not counterattacked, because you won't have lots of armies. Pay that attention to that. So that's my take on the situation. Now, they have a very easy start. I mean, there's no enemies nearby. You can just pick anything that you want. You only have 2 places, but they're good in income. You don't start with any forts, which is annoying. You can get some places where you're gonna get forts, but only later on. Now, I would say, let's talk in terms of military. So, military has this problem. The basic unit costs 260, and the King's Warriors cost this upkeep. Now, everyone is an elite unit in terms of recruitment. I mean, the upkeep is as high as you can have. Even the Dale Cavalry, which is a medium cavalry, it costs like that. Every single unit that you take costs a lot of money. So make sure that you actually build these Oregonian clan halls, that you actually build the miners' quarters, because you're going to need the number of free upkeep units for sure. I mean, you can get royal guards, of course. You can get the Stonefoot warriors. You can get the Stiffbeard scouts. I'm gonna show you regarding that. So, pretty much you're gonna need anything that allows more recruitment slots, because you want to be able to recruit units fast. But you also want to build the mines. You also want to build the stuff that provides you free upkeep units. I would consider that you think on this as being the ability to recruit more units and to have more money. You know, that's what I would consider. So your initial units, you don't have anything particularly good other than, of course, the general units. I'm going to show you those. Start with Royal Guards. I mean, 1434. This looks pretty good. You know, they're very good in defensive. They're still very good in offensive. You get good mercenaries. You have these Sons of the Fallen who are skilled against mounts on Gimli here. 1334. I mean, it's amazing. And even with the special ability, it's just so good. Get good mercenaries because you can recruit the cavalry there. You have this guy, which is a Royal Guard, and if I'm not mistaken, this guy, King Dane, has a very interesting unit. Yeah, the Dragon Slayers of Erebor. I mean, skilled against mounts and frightening by enemy infantry means they're good against anything. The attack is 16. This is actually better than if they had, you know, damage versus armored. I mean, with an attack of 16, this is basically 8 with bonuses versus armored opponents. So just use these guys as much as you can. Now, in terms of agents, you do start with the Diplomat. So very high upkeep, it's the model of this. Very slow recruitment of cavalry and archers. I think too much infantry, but it's the best infantry ever. I mean, you will never run out of infantry. And you have good mercs. This is the basic. Now, let me show you the options for those settlements. So, there's a barracks. You can see that you're going to have King's Warriors, a basic unit that is actually already better than most initial units. The Matic Warriors, effectively against armor with 11 attack. Yes, please. And I have King's Axes, effective against armor with 8 and 20 there. It's amazing. Halberds, pretty much one of the best halberds in the world. I mean, skilled against mounts, effective against armor. Really, 617 with that upkeep. I mean, these guys are worth their money. The Vault Wardens are the same, but they do not have effective against armor. I would always get the King's Halberds prior to getting the Wardens, by the way. Even though they have less... They don't have as much range because these guys have very long spears. I would always get those. Then you get the Iron Guard, which is, you know, pretty much one of the best basic infantry that you can get. And then you have the Axes of Erebor, 1026. I mean, these guys don't have shields, so they're vulnerable to archer fire and specifically to crossbowmen fire or javelins. Just send these guys to the kill. When everyone is engaged, you have 2 or 3 units of these guys that will charge there. Now, the best thing that you have from the Dwarves is the fact that you don't have to rely on covering your archers too much. That's one thing. Because these guys are already good in melee and defense. I mean, effective against armored with 11, these are really cool units to have on the front. I would always get Dwarven Axe Throwers in the front to soak up everything. This will be my bread and butter unit. I would put them in the front, they will throw their axes, then they will engage in melee. Then you can send the heavy hitters against that army that has just engaged with your Axe Throwers. Or you can use these guys on flanks, you know, to cover your weak cavalry from charges. They can destroy the cavalry that is charging them, or any infantry that goes against them. I mean, these are very good units to hack and slash against anything, so that your cavalry can go on the sides. I mean, very good use for this. And the King's Crossbow is effective against armor, missile attack 10, and I think the only problem is the range, but they compensate a little bit with the high accuracy. So you still have decent ranged units there. Still one of the armies that I would say that benefits the most from the ballistas and the dwarven catapults. I mean, the dwarven catapults, do note, by the way, they have grape shot, so consider this. guys. Consider that. They have grape shot, which is really nice. Let me just check. So you can get the 12 and minus from the smiths. And do consider one thing. The smiths, they reduced their cost. This used to cost a lot more. So right now, you can actually get the heavy armor pretty basically, which is really cool. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth one, it's still pretty decent. It's not that costly. So it's still nice. I mean, it's cool. Let me just see if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the mines actually provide population growth and culture increase. Should always get those. Gonna get the Masons Guild, the Warriors Guild. This is always going to be nice. Let me check the Castle Hall. Yeah, Castle Hall is important because it provides you with the cavalry and you also with the Royal Guard. But I would always go for the Castle Hall when possible to get the cavalry going because it doesn't have a good replenishment rate. Now let's talk about the Oregonian Royal Hall. Still in terms of military, you get some good additions here. Stiffbeard scouts, just good scouts. Damage is not that good, but it's still a good range unit. Get the warriors, skilled against mounts. So these are good units to have at the front of your army. Get the Iron Fist Axes, which are, effective against armor units. Pretty much they're axes of Erebor as well, but you can just build this place to have the free upkeep slots and the recruitment slots and still get these guys. So consider that. It's still expensive, but it's good. Then you have the Oregonian nobles, always effective against armor. Armor is never a problem with these guys. And finally, your elite archer unit. Effective against armor. Missile attack 11. These are crossbowmen, but high in range, 140 meters. But of course, do consider the total defense. These guys don't die easily, so it's actually good to have these guys at the front or even at the back, covering your general. You're always going to use these guys. I think it's a good thing. It's kind of bad that you need two places to build, but I would consider skipping the ranges early on after the practice range, because this just provides more experience to them. So I'd get the early practice range and then just concentrate on getting barrack units and Oregonian royal halls. You also have the 4 towns, not that you need them, of course, because nothing there is actually good. I wouldn't build this building into a long time. Other than increase tradable goods, I don't think that is effective at all. Now let's talk about the good things regarding finances. So you have too much high upkeep. You have very high upkeep, but you have many places that can actually provide you recruitment. You have many places that will allow you free upkeep. So you gotta do that. You need to soak the upkeep until you're ready to move in. The dwarves are more a defensive faction. What does that mean? You're gonna defend, then send an army to conquer a place, and then defend there, build the buildings that you need to get the upkeep, and then when the finances are done again, you're gonna defend again. Do not count on being always on the move with the dwarves. That's not how you should perform. I think that's not the best idea. They're not the best way. I think you should go against the Misty Mountain Orcs as fast as possible because that will always provide you some mines. Finances, as we're going to speak, is a mix of two things. Building the mines, of course, because it provides just so much income. I mean, immediately getting 1,000 with this building? Yes, please. And you can also get the same thing on Kirithkatol, which is mine that provides only 450. You can consider this, the pipe hall first. First things to start production of the Dale cavalry, which is a little bit annoying. I'm going to show you there. You're not going to have a lot of cavalry because it takes 20 turns to replenish, even more. The replenishment is a problem for these guys. So still, you can always build the mines and they will provide a lot of income. I mean, you can check that out. As soon as you get the other mines, it will be 1050. I mean, still pretty decent. In 8 turns, you get the money, which is more than with many other buildings. So that would always be something. Now, I want to tell you that there's a place here that you can capture without sending anything else but just a few units. So you should send the unit that actually moves the fastest. If I'm not mistaken, it's your faction leader. You can just build the watchtowers. Let me use this just to show you. Sorry about that. That Burgram has nothing there. It's an open city. You just go there and capture. And be fast. I think this is actually the guy that reaches it faster. Oh yeah. Here's the thing. You have good marks because you have 2 units of cavalry available. And you can send the cavalry unit, if I'm not mistaken, it can actually reach there. Yeah, it doesn't allow me to move right now, but it can reach there in like 2 turns. I would always advise you getting that. So let me just take away the... Oops, not that. The fog of war here. I would always advise you to getting this. Now do note, look at the profits. It's already decreasing. You're going to have a lot of problems with income. Make sure that you get anything that you can, that you get any buildings that you can in order to get replenishment done, because you're going to need that. I would send the armies just to capture some places here and there, and make sure that you get anything that you can with forts. There are some forts nearby you may be able to capture or not. There are some forts near here as well, provided that the Valesmen give you access to them, or that you conquer them from them. So forts are really important. You should try to get some places where you get forts. I wouldn't go against the elves or Dale. I mean, Dale is a good ally, even though these 2 forts are just so inviting. If anything happens and this is conquered by anyone else, go for it. Don't let Dale have it, because these 2 forts, I wish I had 1 fort on my place. That'll be so good. I mean, the upkeep is the biggest problem here. I'm going to show you that the army upkeep is already 2,900, which is superior to your King's Purse. You have no money on your King's Purse, by the way, which is annoying with the dwarves being such like this. So early mines, you actually have good finances. And you can also do one other thing I noticed. You can actually go with the orcs and go for a ceasefire. So you have that option as well. I still consider that it's actually better to go for them. Maybe offer a ceasefire, get some money, and then betray them. Then going versus Rune. Rune just has too much mobility and too much places where they can strike at you. And not a lot of good places here for you to capture that will provide mines, because mines are pretty much the stuff that you need. So what else? You start with a Diplomat, which should probably just be sent immediately towards these factions, and then just go towards the orcs. Get a lot of money from these guys, as much as you can, because you will need that. And as you've seen, we start with 4 good generals. Let me just show you that. Pretty much one of the factions that start with very solid generals. I mean, 4 of them. You still start with many infantry units. I mean, even the Dwarven miners, you don't start with anything that has range. You won't be able to build those guys easily. I mean, it takes 3 turns. You still need the mines. Then you need the Oregonian hall or the miners' quarters. I would always go for the miners' quarters first. Less expensive, and it will reduce the building costs, which is a problem for you. Just go for that. Manage your taxes, and you're gonna have a very interesting campaign. I think the Dwarves of Erebor are pretty much what it states in the beginning. Very strong infantry. Don't worry about your infantry getting hit by archers. Don't worry about them getting hit by cavalry. Don't worry about them getting hit by anything. Just move close up, close up, close up, and then you get them. That's it. I would honestly just send 1 unit to be attacked on all sides by them, so that they will be stranded them, and then I would attack them. Pretty much that's what you gotta do with the dwarves. So Rune is also one of the armies that will use skirmishing tactics pretty early on, so that's annoying to you. That's why I would consider always going against the Misty Mountain Orcs, because they will at least try to make a show of force, which, and their archers are not going to do anything against their infantry, not even against these guys. Alright, so that was it for the Dwarves of Erebor. Certainly a very long campaign. I don't know if I actually talked about this, but you have to destroy. You don't have to destroy mortar, but still you have to move into two places at once. And leaving Rune to get the dragon units is not as bad as it seems, because you have the tools to face those units. What you don't have is the tools to actually play quite dispersed as you're going to be, because your armies are not mobile enough, and that may be a problem. So I would get spies near this area to check how Rune is going. Rune is going to concentrate on the Oregonian pretty much, and the Oregonian can make them pay for that. So for me, the biggest situation is that you always should get some early picks and go straight into war against the orcs. Careful, of course, against counterattacks, but that's to be expected. Guys, that is my take on this Dwarves of Erebor. Thank you guys for watching. I think you guys are enjoying these faction overviews. I'll certainly have one for each faction. So tomorrow there's another one. Bye bye. Cheers, guys.